as a financial advisor, one of the most common questions I get asked is, hey, Azul, do I have enough money to retire? And if I do, how much can I comfortably spend? So in today's video, I want to share with you a case study, a married couple. They have $2.1 million. They're 62 years old. Can they retire? The obvious answer to that is yes, of course. Fewer than 10% of all Americans retire with $1 million or more. But what's their retirement going to look like? So let's jump in. This is a free online tool that you can use. Stick around to the end of the video. I'll share what the tool is. You can follow along. You can plug in different numbers. And I like this tool because it also gives us a Monte Carlo simulation, which I think is a powerful way to look at what's the likelihood that you're going to succeed, that you'll be able to spend this money. So let's jump in. The first section is where we enter our personal information. In this case, the couple is 62 years old. They're married. They have $2.1 million. I'm keeping things super simple. Social Security I have down as $3,000. Why do I have $3,000 down? Because the average Social Security check in the United States as of January of 2024, changes every month, is a little under $2,000 a month. It's $1,920 a month. So I'm assuming $2,000 for one of the spouses, and I'm assuming the other spouse is getting 50% of their spouse's benefits, so that's an extra $1,000. So $2,000 and $1,000 is $3,000. They're 62 now. They're going to start taking Social Security now. Okay. The next section of this is the portfolio. You can see here I've got $2.1 million in the portfolio. It's the portfolio value. The asset allocation, this is what the program defaults it to. You can change it to whatever you want, what percent's in stocks, what percent's in bonds. This is nothing I'm sharing in today's video is financial advice, but it's not unusual for me to see a couple in their early 60s with an asset allocation of 60-40. In this case, it stays constant throughout their life, a 60-40 portfolio. And then for expenses, I'm putting down $10,000. Now, why am I putting down $10,000? Well, $3,000 is coming from their Social Security, and then there's an extra $7,000 or $84,000 a year that's coming from their investments. And I chose that because it's the 4% rule. 4% of $2 million would be $80,000. So it's $84,000 with $2.1 million. So $7,000 a month coming from their investments, their savings, and then the rest of it is coming from Social Security. So $10,000 a month. Total spending, it's going to, the rest of this is just the defaults. For the program, you can go through and change anything you'd like, the tax rate, etc. And then we go, the next section is settings, and there it's just, you put in what returns you want the program to assume for your stocks and your bonds. I left everything at the default. It also talks about fat tails, and fat tails are because stock distributions tend to not follow that normal bell curve that we all learned about in high school. So I changed that there and give it fat tails, which is more consistent with the distribution, the bell curve that we see with stocks. I did not click black swans. Black swans is bad events. I can make any plan fail, but you make the decision whether you want to put in black swans, bad events, things that are only supposed to happen every 100 years, every 200 years, but somehow have a way of happening more often. Things like COVID would be a black swan event. Things like the Great Financial Crisis, things like the Great Depression would be black swan events. Okay, so now we, after we put in all that information, we click on Show Me, and it gives us a simulation here. Now, I should point out what we're seeing. What we're seeing here is the top of the shaded blue line to the bottom of the shaded blue line. That's 80% of the cases. And then there's the top 20%. Those are people that have done better than the average. And then there's the bottom 20%. Those are the unlucky people. All the information is the same. It's just the sequence of returns. It's how lucky did we get in the stock market. And then that dark blue line you see there, that's the median. So in this case here, you can see under simulation, the line under simulation, it says, we ran 10,000 simulations based on your information. So the dark blue line is half of the cases, 5,000 of the cases did better, 5,000 cases did worse. And again, the Monte Carlo simulation, really what it's trying to do is we all live one life. So we would be one line. Let's just say we're that median line. We're not. We don't know which line we're at until we look backwards. But the Monte Carlo is just doing 10,000 simulated lives. Okay. And so in this case, you know, the lucky people, the top of the light blue line, most of us would be happy to pass away with $4.5 million. The median line, half the people pass away with $1 million or more. We're assuming a life expectancy of 90. And the other half pass away with less than $1 million. And that's the group we need to look at. You can see the unlucky group passes away at 84. So this is probably what spending $10,000 a month with $2.1 million, with $3,000 between the spouses coming in and Social Security. That's what this would look like. It's probably a 70 to 80% likelihood of success. It's not a 90 to 95, and that's because the unlucky people are passing away, are running out of money before they pass away, and they're running out of money at about 84. Okay, so let's say you're not comfortable with that, and plenty of people would not be comfortable with that. Let's see if by increasing our Social Security age, the age at which we start taking Social Security, to 67, which for many of us watching this video is going to be our full retirement age, let's see if that makes things better. So I'm leaving everything the same. The only thing I'm changing is they get their Social Security at 67. That $3,000 a month is going to continue to increase by 2%. You can see the rate of inflation I put in there. The growth rate is 2% a year, which I'm estimating is inflation. So let's see how that impacts us. We change that. Unfortunately, if we look at this simulation, it's actually worse. Instead of running out of money at 84, the unlucky people are running out of money between 82 and 83. So let's go back and let's change that back to taking Social Security at 62. And then instead of $10,000 a month, let's cut that back by a little bit. Let's cut back that $10,000 a month to $9,000 a month and see what that does. My gut says we're going to be okay with that. So we do that, and yeah, this is what a 95% likelihood of success, maybe more, looks like. You know, the lucky people are passing away with $6 million. The median person now passes away, instead of at 90 having $1 million, the median, the dark blue line, has $2 million, a little bit more. And then the unlucky folks passing away pretty close to 90. So that's what a 90-95% likelihood of success looks like. Okay, so in this one, I want to say some of you watching are single. And what does it look like if you've got $2.1 million and you're single? Now, I didn't change the name where it says 62 married and 2.1 million. I should have. But you can see with Social Security from the dollar standpoint, instead of taking the $2,000 a month and then adding in a spouse that gets half of that, I've just taken that away. So it's $2,000 a month. Let's run that, and you can see here at $2,000 a month with $9,000 in expenses. Unfortunately, the unlucky people are passing away at 85 or 86. Many people would be fine with that, and if you are, that's great. But if you're like, you know, I don't like the likelihood that I could run out of money before I run out of life, that's fine too. So let's, instead of having $9,000 a month, let's have $8,000 a month. That's the only thing I'm changing here. Social Security still, we're taking it at 62. It's $2,000 a month instead of $3 because it's a single. And if we cut our expenses back to $8,000 a month instead of $9,000, you can see here people are living all the way to 90 and still having, even the unlucky people still have a little bit of money. The lucky people have close to $7 million, and the median has about $2.5 million. I mentioned this is a free resource. I really like it. It's called honestmath.com. It's not perfect. I think if you're a decade away from retiring, it gets you a feel for how much you should be saving, allows you to play with different scenarios. None of what I'm sharing here is financial advice. I do think you should work with a financial advisor. And I also think you should be thoughtful and deliberate about when you retire. And that's why I made this video up here, which is retiring at 65, big mistake. And the mistake could be, could you retire sooner? And if you can, should you retire sooner to take full advantage of the youth of your senior years? Retiring at 65, why that might be a big mistake. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in that one. Bye-bye.